This is a First Defense weather alert.
Good Monday morning, everybody. It is 12:55, and on Monday morning, Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter in the First Defense Weather Center, and we are working now a tornado warning that is now in place for the western section of Warren County. It is this flashing red polygon that you see right here. It is for this thunderstorm that is moving out of southern Erie in northern Crawford County. It is moving like this up into western Warren County, and this thunderstorm complex has formed out ahead of this cold front, and this is what we've been talking about all afternoon long, about how, you know, this threat of severe storms has not been over, and this was the second round that it came in. So what you're looking at is the reflectivity display here, and that flashing red polygon you see in Warren County is our tornado warning that is in effect. So it basically includes, it does not include the city of Warren. It includes Youngsville, Bear Creek, and out towards Pittsfield. It is for this thunderstorm complex coming out of Crawford, coming out of Erie County, Pennsylvania, and that eastern section of Erie County and Crawford coming up like this. So Jackson, if we can put the velocity data on here, this will give us a better idea of what's going on. And this is the base velocity signature. And I think what the Weather Service is looking at is going to be a little spot right in here that kind of popped up. There was a little velocity signature that popped up, and the Weather has been looking at that as tornado indication, and hence the reason why they have put out the tornado warning. So understand, this is not for any part of the southern tier as of now. This is exclusively a Warren County issue. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for the southern tier, but we are focusing on the tornado warning as that is the main concern as of this moment. And you can see here that little velocity signature is kind of right Warren County line, and that is kind of what they're looking at as it is moving towards the northeast here, coming up into that northwestern section of Warren County. The velocity signature at this point doesn't look very impressive, but the Weather Service and State College believes there's enough evidence here to put out a tornado warning. So this is a tornado warning for western Warren County until 1:15 this morning. And this has been a long day. I mean, you know, we've been here since, I don't know. I mean, I've kept track. I've lost count of how long we've been here. But, you know, it's just been one of those days. You know, we've talked about this, how this severe weather threat was not over, and this second round could very well be producing some, pardon me, could very well be producing some more issues. So again, what you are looking at here is the velocity data, and this is the newest radar scan coming in, and that velocity signature is now likely into Warren County outside of Crawford County now, at least coming, or the southern section of Erie County, Pennsylvania, coming up into Warren County. So that flashing red polygon is a tornado warning. So if you are in that tornado warning polygon, now is the time to go to your safe place. That is a small room on the lowest floor near the center, away from windows, no mobile homes, no cars. You guys know the deal on this. If you're on any sort of highway, interstate, if you're driving, just pull off, find a more substantial structure, and get into that. You don't want to be in a car. You don't want to be outside during one of this as well. So again, this does not include the city of Warren. So it only includes this area where you see that flashing red polygon. So Warren is not involved. Sheffield is not involved. Clarendon not involved. It is only this far northwestern portion, which includes Bear Creek, Pittsfield, the Pittsfield Fairgrounds, out towards Spring Creek, Youngsville, out towards that region. That is where that tornado warning currently is in place right now. And we do have Mitch Billinger, by the way, who is coming down into this storm. He's going to try to intercept this storm and see if we can see anything. But the problem is this is at night. And storm spotting at night is very, very difficult because you have to wait for lightning flashes to illuminate things. And the thing here is, though, we've got a lot of lightning here. Look at this, 581 strikes, and this is a 10-minute interval. So these storms are hot with their lightning output early this morning. So if you're just waking up to this, this is what's going on. First of all, we have this severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for Chautauqua and Cattaraugus counties. That's been in effect for about 10 minutes and will stay in place until, I believe, 1:30 or 1:45 this morning. But the reason we're on the air is for this tornado warning, which includes that northwestern section of Warren County, and this is a thunderstorm complex that had bubbled up over Erie County, Pennsylvania, and is now moving towards the northeast or moving towards the east into the western section of Warren. And I'm looking at my other radar display here, trying to pick out anything on the velocity, and there's nothing that really stands out on the velocity indication. That is the good news here. This is the standard reflectivity. This is what you normally look at when you see radar. This is the energy of the raindrops bouncing off the radar beam. And so this is what you normally look at when you see radar. And from here, it's kind of hard to pick out if there's anything in there. In fact, the velocities don't even look that impressive either. And but the warning is up until 1:15 this morning. So we're going to wait here until at least 1:15 and see what happens here. If this warning gets extended further out to the north, gets extended further out to the east or further out to the northeast, we'll wait and see what happens with that in due time. But so this has been a very long day today, and it's a very long night ahead of us here. The same thing we've talked about. We have a severe thunderstorm watch in place for all of Western New York, including the southern tier, until 5 a.m. this morning. So settle in, grab your popcorn, just wait it out, because this is how it's going to be tonight. It's been one of those kind of days. So understand, this tornado warning is only for western Warren County. Does not include any part of Chautauqua County, does not include any part of Cattaraugus County. It is exclusively a Warren County problem. And so this is that flashing red polygon you see is that tornado warning. And the storm in question is this storm right here that is moving out of Erie County, coming up into that western section of Warren County. And again, this is the standard reflectivity display. And the velocity data has not really been overly impressive. If you're really looking for anything, it's going to be kind of right in here. And kind of what you're looking at, all this pink, that purple area that you see there is what's called range folding, where the radar can't really determine if the winds are inbound or outbound. And so we tend to have a lot of those issues, especially down here in Warren County, where the beam starts to get 5, 6, 7,000 feet up. We start to have that issue. But any sort of rotational signature would be right in here. But again, not looking overly impressive at this particular time. The warning for Erie and Crawford stays in effect, but basically if you're in Erie or Crawford County, Pennsylvania, your severe weather threat is basically over from this particular tornado warning. It is now exclusively a Warren County problem, as the actual center of circulation has now started to move in to Warren County here, and you can see Jackson drawing a storm track, and this is a estimate from the area of the strongest rotation, and you can see here some of the estimated times of arrival. And the same thing that we talked about, don't wait. I mean, if you're anywhere in that red polygon and there's a chance that this tornado warning could be extended, we'll have to wait and see what State College does with this. But again, don't wait until the last minute. Those times you saw up there, don't wait until the very last minute to do something. You want to make sure that you are in your safe place now. That is a small room on the lowest floor near the center, away from windows, no mobile homes, no cars. And again, this is a nice graphic that we have on the graphic system that tells you what you need to do here. So What is best is a basement. If you have a basement, get down in that. If not, small interior room on the lowest floor near the center away from windows. The same thing we've been talking about, how you want to be in that small interior room, as that really helps to shield you from flying debris and others as well. And also, you want to make sure as well that you have your safety kit with you as well. Make sure you have whistles or air horns. Make sure you have hard sole shoes. You have, your ID with you. All that stuff is helpful. In fact, here's the safety kit here. Jackson's running around, clicking all the buttons on the weather computers today. So hard sole shoes, air horn, helmets for everybody, and have your ID. This is the same thing we talked about earlier about how, I know it sounds silly, have helmets for everybody, but again, there's been numerous peer-reviewed studies that have shown that people who have been injured in tornadoes or who have lost their lives in tornadoes, the injuries have been to the face and skull region. So that is why a helmet is very, very important. So let's go back to the radar here, and this is the live first defense Doppler radar. And again, you're looking at this particular tornado warning right here, which is in effect for northwestern Warren County until 1:15. And again, the rotational signature, not very extreme. It's really hard to really kind of pick anything out in the velocity data that would really show anything of a potential significance. But the Weather Service and State College does believe there's enough evidence here to put out the warning. So that is why this tornado warning is in effect until 1:15 this morning for western Warren County. And just for the fun of it, Jackson, let's put on that debris tracker, the correlation coefficient, and see if we can spot anything of what looks like a debris, and not really noticing anything in here that would indicate that we have a debris being lofted. That is the good news. And understand, this is what's called the correlation coefficient product, which is a relatively new product on the National Weather Service Doppler radars that we got about 10 years or so ago. Basically, what the correlation coefficient does is it looks at all of the radar's returned echoes, and if it sees something that doesn't correlate with all the others, it puts a negative value on it. And anytime you see a negative value on the correlation coefficient that matches up with a velocity signature, that 9 times out of 10 indicates that you have debris being lofted, something that is from below taken aloft. So the good news is we don't see that, but again, we can't use the debris tracker for warning confirmation. We do it for confirmation that something is there. So that is why we can't use it for warning. We use it for confirmation. So as of right now, let's go back to the reflectivity display. And what we have right now is the tornado warning for that northwestern section of Warren County. There it is. And it's that flashing red polygon, which will continue until 1:15. We are waiting to see if the Weather Service and State College will extend this further out to the east, which may include Russell and maybe the city of Warren. But to be honest with you, now on the reflectivity display, looking at this, this is taking on more of a bow-shaped echo. So I'm thinking that this particular thunderstorm complex, maybe strong winds will be the main factor with this. But again, there could be an isolated tornado that could spin up within here, but that's looking more like a damaging straight line wind signature. But we'll just have to wait and see how the storm plays out as it continues moving to the northeast. And that is something that we are going to keep an eye on here and see what is going to continue on. And more than likely, based on the storm motion, this is likely going to ride like this. So this would likely not include the city of Warren. If it were to be extended, it would likely be more like this, coming up into that southern section of Chautauqua County and going into Cattaraugus County. So, again, if you're in the southern tier, would not be a bad idea to kind of keep your eyes on this to see what is going to happen here in about 5 or so minutes here. The tornado warning for Warren County will continue until 1:15, and at that point, the Weather Service and State College will have a decision to make on what they're going to do with this particular thunderstorm. As of right now, they have it. The severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Corey, moving east at 45. And what you're looking at is this particular thunderstorm complex in question. and it is moving more like this. And so that would likely take this kind of north of Warren, coming up towards Russell. That's likely where this would take this, and that's the fresh radar sweep now. And you can still kind of see how this is kind of morphing, I think, more into a damaging straight line wind event, but we're going to wait and see on this. And again, I'm looking at the velocity that I have over here, and it's just getting to that point where it's really hard to really pick anything out if there's anything there. Again, just not really seeing much that would indicate that we potentially have a tornado going on here. But as long as the warning is in effect, you want to make sure that you are in your safe place. And so again, the warning will continue until 1:15. As this thunderstorm complex continues moving to the east, northeast, and we'll likely clip that northern section coming up towards Russell as it continues to move like this. So the storm is moving about halfway towards the polygon, and this is around that time where the Weather Service starts thinking about, what are we going to do here? Are we going to reissue? Are we going to let this thunderstorm ride out? What are we going to do here? And so that's kind of what we're looking at right now, to see what is going to happen with this in about 4 minutes, if they're going to let this ride or if they're going to extend this further out. And again, that velocity signature, it's really hard to pick anything out on velocity if there is anything there. It is just really, really noisy. And you can see here that there's really not much in here that would indicate that there's some sort of rotation going on in here. And quite frankly, I think we've kind of lost the actual rotational signature. If there's anything here, it's probably right about here. That's probably, if there's anything going on, that's likely where it is, coming up towards the Pittsfield Fairgrounds, which is kind of right up in here. And so Pittsfield is actually right up in here. So the fairgrounds, so this would be making a beeline up towards the Pittsfield Fairgrounds. So we're going to have to, again, wait and see what this does. But as of right now, we don't have any confirmation that they are going to extend this or they are going to let it go as of this particular moment. So what we're going to do here, and we're just going to continue focusing on this because that's our storm of questions. So if you are across the southern tier, pardon me, if you're across the southern tier, from Jamestown back up into Cattaraugus County, the weather is just nasty. I mean, we've got heavy rain, lots of lightning, maybe some strong winds with this thunderstorm complex, but no tornado warning for the southern tier. These are just severe thunderstorm warnings up here, mainly for that damaging wind gust threat and maybe some heavy rain as well. There also is an aerial flood advisory for Erie and Crawford County, Pennsylvania, and the reason for that is due to training thunderstorms. 1 to 2 inches of rain has fallen. Another 1 to 2 inches could fall tonight. So that definitely could lead to some flooding issues back across Erie and Crawford County, Pennsylvania. But this is the thunderstorm that we've been watching for the past several minutes here. And again, the overall radar presentation has really kind of gone down. So if there was any sort of rotation in there, it doesn't look that impressive. In fact, it's just really hard to pick anything out on the velocity if there's anything there. It's coming up towards Pittsfield, and the same thing we talked about. Any sort of rotational signature is probably right about in here, but it's just really difficult to pick that out on the velocity imagery. More than likely, this is starting to occlude itself, where it's probably starting to enter a little bit more stable air. So if there was a potential, if there was a tornadic circulation within there, more than likely the tornadic circulation has probably since weakened off. But we're going to wait and see what the Weather Service does with this. It is set to expire in 1 minute. But we don't see anything from the Weather Service and State College yet on what they are going to do with this. And this is a double box. This is Mitch Bellinger, and he is out there tonight bracing this. He's in it with the long haul with the rest of us, and he's out there and he's in Warren County looking back into this storm, and he's going to try to come up on it to see if there's anything going on in here. But yes.
Mitch says he's north of
Okay, so Mitch is up near Youngsville, and according to Mitch, he believes that he might have spotted a funnel cloud with this storm. And understand, this is a spotter's nightmare doing this at night because you have to wait for lightning flashes to illuminate the sky. And, we've had a lot of lightning. I mean, that's for sure. So we have had a lot of lightning with this. And so that has been helping the spotters as well. But man, doing this stuff at night, it is just a nightmare because you have to deal with darkness and just, it's awful. But you can see just the almost nonstop lightning coming from his vantage point. And again, he's up near Youngsville. And he did report that he potentially saw a funnel cloud with this storm as it was coming on through. And boy, that's a lightning there. Woo! Man, constant nonstop lightning there. But you can see the tornado warning is now since off the board. So we're just going to hold it here for a couple of minutes to see what happens with this. Again, the overall storm structure, at least on the radar displays, just don't look that impressive. I think what's potentially happened here is these storms have likely started to hit a little bit more stable air and have ultimately started to pull these storms apart. But still, I think the main threat with this particular thunderstorm complex as it comes into Warren County or continues to move towards Warren County will likely be just strong damaging winds. But again, there could be a brief spin up tornado. This is the same thing that we talked about. This has been a very long day of dealing with severe weather, and here's the second round coming in. And, this has just been one of those days. So we could be, again, dealing with, more damaging straight line winds. We've already had wind damage across the region from the first round of storms that came through this afternoon. Now, here comes another round. That's just how it works sometimes. So again, this is taking on more of a bow-shaped echo as it continues to move to the north, as it continues to move to the east-northeast. So I'm thinking with this complex, it's mainly going to be a damaging wind gust threat. Let's go up into the southern tier a little bit and take a look at this complex coming through the eastern part of Chautauqua County going up into Cattaraugus County. And the weather is just horrible here. I mean, this is just mostly just heavy rain, lots of lightning, and potentially some gusty winds as well. It is just a very nasty night out there, and it's a loud night as well. These storms have a lot of lightning in them, and across this whole radar view, 375 lightning strikes over the past 10 minutes. That is just absolutely crazy. I mean, these storms are hot, and this is all out ahead of the cold front that's ultimately going to come on through. If we can put on the watches and warnings map, Jackson, this will, and go back to the, there you go. So all the counties here that are shaded in pink, that is a severe thunderstorm watch. And that watch is going to remain in effect until 5 o'clock this morning as these storms continue moving on through. Now, there's a chance across the western southern tier the counties will be dropped before 5 o'clock. But understand this watch includes all of western New York up into the central New York, up until the Tug Hill region going up into Vermont. So more than likely, the westernmost counties will likely be dropped as this line of storms moves on through. The orange polygons you see are severe thunderstorm warnings. Again, we could be dealing with heavy rainfall, damaging wind gusts upwards of 60 miles an hour. The tan polygons are special weather statements. And we kind of tried to explain this earlier, and it's kind of complicated to explain, but a special weather statement is not really, it's issued for a storm that's not severe. It's issued for a storm that is elevated but not severe. So that's kind of what we have there. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Warren County back down into Crawford, and this is kind of what's going on right now. So the tornado warning that we had is off the board. It has since been allowed to expire. We don't see any reissuance coming from the Weather Service in State College, so that is good. More than likely, what is going on right now is these storms are, again, the same thing we talked about. These storms are potentially entering a little bit more strong, a little bit more weaker atmosphere, but they still could produce some damaging straight line winds. So we're going to stay here through the night. I'm not going home. I mean, you know, I was hoping to go home tonight, but it doesn't look like I'll be staying here all night long. So that's fine. That's what we do. So since we don't have any tornado warnings, we are going to go off the air. But if another tornado warning pops up, we'll be right back on the air with more coverage. But as of right now, we have no tornado warnings in effect for any part of the southern tier or northwestern Pennsylvania. But these severe thunderstorm warnings will continue for the potential for damaging winds, heavy rain, and potential for lots of lightning. Again, notice the lightning counter, 550 lightning strikes, hot storms tonight. So make sure that you have a way of getting your watches and warnings. And just as I say that, they issued a new tornado warning for Crawford County. And sometimes the Weather Service will trick you like that. It is right here. And that is a very tiny, from what looks like a tiny polygon. So again, folks, this is not for, this is a very small section of Crawford County. And again, that is going to be following right up into this same track. So if that continues up into Warren County, another tornado warning could be possible for Warren County. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on that. So that is now a tornado warning for Crawford County. And that tornado warning for Crawford County will go until 1:45. Until 1:45, that tornado warning, that is for this section of Crawford County right here, where you see that flashing red polygon. That is a tornado warning. We also have a flash flood warning now for Chautauqua County, and that flash flood warning is simply because of all this heavy rain that has been falling. And these thunderstorms have been training over the same areas. And it's this right here. I thought it was for the southern section, but it's this right here. So this is now a flash flood warning from up near Dunkirk going up towards Wyoming County. That maroon polygon right there is a flash flood warning. And that is the potential for, again, flooding that could be occurring from those storms that came on through. That's what we call training thunderstorms, where thunderstorms have been moving over the same areas, and we're continuing to drop lots of heavy rain. So again, let's go back to that tornado warning in Crawford County, and there is a very distinct area of rotation within that storm, and it is just north of Hightown in Crawford County. Yeah, right here. You can see it right here where the colors are coming together. That is your rotational signature right here, and that is moving toward the east. So more than likely, another tornado warning will likely be required for Warren County. So if you are in that western section of Warren County and you got out of your safe place, go back again, because there's a good likelihood that this will likely come right back up into Warren County, and will likely re-trigger another tornado warning in the same areas where we just had a tornado warning. So this is kind of how it goes sometimes. We get these things, and so we're just going to have to wait and see here. And the one thing we have to remember too is these are two separate Weather Service offices. I know it gets confusing, but Erie and Crawford County, Pennsylvania is served by the Weather Service in Cleveland. Warren County is served by the Weather Service in State College, and all of Western New York is served by the Weather Service in Buffalo. So we have three Weather Service offices up in the region, and that can cause a whole mess when it comes to warnings and who's going to warn for what, and it's just a complicated mess. So and again, you see Mitch Billinger right here. That's his live stream. He's out tonight, and he is coming up into this storm, going to try to intercept it as it moves into Warren County. And then again, the tornado warning does not include Warren County as of this moment, but again, I would not be a bit surprised if the Weather Service extends that warning out of Crawford County back into western Warren County again as well. And again, these storms have been just very hot tonight with their lightning output. You can see Mitch's live stream there, just all that lightning going on in there. So again, the tornado warning will continue for Crawford County. That is the red flashing polygon you see right here. You can almost see there's evidence of almost an inflow notch right here, and that's where that rotational signature is right back in here. And if that And if that storm structure maintains, this is likely going to wind up in Warren County, where it will likely then pass right over the same areas where that first one did. So again, the same thing that we talked about. If you were in the initial tornado warning that included Warren County, not a bad idea to go back into your tornado safe place once again, because here comes another one coming out of Crawford County. Let's put the velocity back on here, and this will show you kind of what we're looking at. It's going to be area right in here where you see the red and greens coming together. That is what we call a velocity couplet. That is where there's rotation going on within the storm. And it's kind of interesting when you think about it. Doppler radar was new back almost 30 years ago. I mean, it's really amazing when you think about it. But the velocity is something that we didn't have back in the old radars back prior to the current Doppler radar system. And Doppler radar allows us to see how the water droplets are moving relative to the radar beam, either towards the radar or away from the radar. And that's what we call velocity. And where you see the two colors coming together, that's the new radar scan right now. It is now likely into Warren County. So this Crawford County tornado warning will likely be canceled or expired. It looks like the main portion of this storm is now coming up into Warren County. So we're going to wait and see what State College does with this, if they will reissue a tornado warning. They have not at this point, but we're going to wait and see what they do with it. It looks like the main segment of that storm is now coming back up into that western section of Warren County where we had that initial warning earlier. So that will likely be the same areas yet again where we had that initial tornado warning, the one that brought us on the air. That'll likely be where that storm will be headed. And so this is kind of what we have going on right now. So, and again, the weather over Warren County is just awful. I mean, this is all heavy rain, lots of lightning, definitely could be some strong winds going on within here as well. But now we have, again, that potential right down in here in that northwestern quadrant of potentially another tornadic circulation that could be coming up within there. And as of right now, we don't see a reissuance of that tornado warning, but we're going to wait and see what goes on here. So far, we don't see that, which is good, but we're going to hold it here at least until the original warning for Crawford was set to expire at 1:45. There's a good chance that this warning will likely be dropped beforehand, but you can see here that this storm is now coming up into Warren County. And again, this is coming right over the same areas that had that initial tornado warning, the one that brought us on the air in the first place. And so that'll be coming right back over the same areas once again. And that could very well be what is going on right now. So we don't see a reissuance from the Weather Service on the tornado warning as of yet, which is good. But again, the thunderstorm, it's the same thing that we talked about. Likely the air over Warren County, and especially across the southern tier, where all these storms have been today, there likely is less energy to work with for these storms to really kind of really tap into the full potential. But saying that, this nighttime round came in with a punch, and to be honest with you, I was not expecting this secondary round to come in as strong as it has been, simply because of the first round of storms that came through could have worked the air over, become more stable. But these storms, again, have tapped into more energy that's been in the atmosphere. And this is going to be it. After this comes through, this is it. I mean, after all this mess clears out of the area, this is it. The atmosphere is just getting worked over too many times that I think eventually we're just going to lose all that energy. And these storms are ultimately just going to start to fade away. But that tornado warning for Crawford County will continue. And the track on that is coming up into Warren County, if the storm's not already into northwestern Warren County at this point. We have that flash flood warning up for the northern section of Chautauqua County up near Dunkirk that goes up into Erie County and Wyoming County. This is the potential for heavy, the rain that came through this area. It's what we call training, where the storms are like on a train track. They just follow each other. And these are right over the same areas that already had a deluge earlier today. So these storms that are moving through now have the potential to produce even more rain, and that could lead to flash flooding. So that is the reason why that flash flood warning is in effect there. Wouldn't be a bit surprised if we do get a flash flood warning for the southern section of Chautauqua County and of I almost said Crawford County, but Cattaraugus County. How long have we been here, Jackson? Way too long. That's the answer. We've been here way too long. And I wouldn't be shocked if we do see a flash flood warning pop up, or at least some sort of a flood advisory, simply because these storms are going right over the same areas where we had storms earlier, and all this rain has got to go somewhere. And yes, the rain is well needed, but eventually there's going to come a point where you're going to have an issue with all this rainfall that is coming down. So let's go back to the storm over and the Weather Service has just canceled the warning, so that is good. So the Weather Service has canceled the tornado warning for Crawford County. So that tornado warning, off the board. And I think the reason they did that is because the main core of this storm is now into Warren County. And again, we're just going to hold it here because do you remember when we tried to go off the air before, the Weather Service fooled us and put out another warning. So we're going to wait here and just see if there is a reissuance of the tornado warning for Warren County. More than likely, let's put the velocity data back on here because I've been looking at it over here. And again, it's almost the same thing that we dealt with before. It's getting muddled again, where it's getting a little bit more difficult to really try to pick out where there's a velocity signature. How about the storm relative velocity, Jackson? See if that gives us a better look into it. And not really. Any sort of rotation, probably, somewhere in here. But and again, it's just really hard to pick anything out on the velocity display. I think the storm is getting kind of muddled now. We're into this atmosphere where we've already had a storm came through. We had all this rain. Now I think it's starting to muddle things up a little bit. But as of right now, we do not see a reissuance coming from that tornado warning for Warren County, which would be good if we don't get that reissuance. But again, the same thing we talked about. These are two separate Weather Service offices here. This is Cleveland, this is State College. So, these are two separate Weather Service offices, different disagreements on what to warn for, what not to warn for. That's just kind of how things go. But as of right now, that tornado warning for Crawford County off the board. And we don't have any tornado warnings as of right now. We're going to hold it here until 1:35. And if we don't see a reissuance on the tornado warning at 1:35, we're going to end coverage at 1:35. But just wanted to give you a look around here and show you what's going on. So this is the cluster of storms coming through Warren County. The weather is just awful across Warren County. You've got lots of lightning, heavy rain, strong winds, likely maybe some small hail. You've got just almost everything but the kitchen sink going on here. I mean, it is just absolutely horrendous, the weather up here. The weather across the southern tier, pretty much the same thing. You've got lots of, lightning, heavy rain. Okay, the Weather Service is actually issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for this, and they're putting a tornado possible tag on it, which I think is a good call. As you noticed on that velocity signature, there was nothing that really showed you that there was any rotation in there, but a small spin-up tornado could still be possible as the storm continues to move to the east-northeast. So this is a new severe thunderstorm warning for Warren County, and that will go until 2:15 a.m. this morning. And so that is the issue there. And again, just because there's no tornado warning here doesn't mean you couldn't see a spin-up tornado. That's why they put the tornado possible tag in the severe thunderstorm warning to let you know that there is the potential that a small, brief spin-up tornado could occur in between radar scans and before anybody sees it and reports it, which seeing it at night, it's going to be really difficult to do. You have to wait for lightning flashes. So this is basically what we have. This severe thunderstorm warning now, and in fact, we've got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings for Warren. It's just getting very more confusing. Let's just say all of Warren County. If you're in Warren County, no matter where you are, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's just say that, because there's like 3 warnings for Warren County. It's just going to get way too confusing. So if you're in all of Warren County, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning, period. That's just what it is. Don't worry about the expiration times. Just know that you're under a warning. That's just the way it is. The southern tier, the Chautauqua County, looks like they've been taken out of the severe thunderstorm warning, Jackson. If we can move the radar. Yeah, so the severe thunderstorm warning for Chautauqua County has been dropped, which makes sense. The main section of the storms are now into Cattaraugus County. They're going to be moving eastward out towards Allegheny County, and then ultimately Steuben County, and then out towards central New York. But this is our concern, the main concern. The hot storms are over Warren County right now, coming out of Crawford County. These are all storms that formed over Lake Erie. And, these have just been hanging in there, in the words of James Spann, like a rusty fish hook. And, yes, I'll be sending him a check for that as well, for using that quote. But anyway, this is the storms that are coming over Warren County. Again, no tornado warning, just a severe thunderstorm warning for strong winds, heavy rain, and definitely some lightning as well. So because we have no tornado warnings, we are going to go ahead and wrap up coverage. I need to eat because I think, so anyway, so we're going to wrap up coverage here. Thank you for watching. Make sure you stay safe through the overnight. Make sure you have multiple ways of getting warnings. Your weather radio, your smartphone, make sure you have them all charged up, ready to go and get warnings. And make sure you head to your safe place if a tornado warning is posted. And if another tornado warning is posted, we'll hop right back on the air. So we'll see you right back here. If we don't have another tornado warning, we'll see you right back here for News Now at noon at 12 o'clock this afternoon. Thanks for watching. Stay safe tonight.
This is a First Defense Weather Alert.